runners out there. Britt McRoberts from Canada, a Canadian national champion in her own right, and a 2:03 800-meter runner is taking the lead here in the first 200 meters.
Right on her shoulder is Kim Gallagher, who has the fastest time in the field. She was a high school phenom, and this is her first race outdoors, so we don't really know what kind of shape she's in.
McRoberts, a smooth, polished professional. She's been running at the international level now for 4 years.
She was last year's Prefontaine meet winner. Now Gallagher's taking the lead, and Sue Addison of Athletics West is moving up.
"61 seconds unofficially through the quarter mile.
Gallagher looks pretty good.
12 runners in the race.
This is Sue Addison coming up on Kim's shoulder, and right behind her is Lee Arbogast. Okay, Sue Addison really looking strong. Arbogast going by Gallagher as well.
Addison has run 2:01 earlier this year, and she finished second last week in the Jenner race to Essie Kelly. Look at how close. We felt that this would be a close finish with 4 or 5 runners, all almost in a blanket finish.
And now here's Lee Arbogast, who's got the best speed in this field, except for perhaps McRoberts, and she's looking pretty good going into the stiff headwind.
Christine Mullen, Brick McRoberts moving up in the inside. Can she hold on to the finish? Look at her tie-up. And it's Sue Addison in first place. I don't know for a second.
Eugene, Oregon for the Prefontaine Classic. There are the records for the steeplechase as they get underway, ranging from 8:05 to 8:18. Our competitors in this event are Doug Heikkinen, Henry Marsh, Doug Brown, Graham Feld, Kim Martin, Ron Addison, Randy Jackson, and Kelly Jensen. In our second tier, we have Tom Hunt, Bruce Bickford, Dave Daniels, Craig Einspar, Jay Woods, Ivan Huff, and Bill McCullough. Quite a field in the steeplechase.
Thank you, Leandra. If you notice someone has broken out on the lead already, from Michigan, the name Dan Heikkinen might be familiar. This is brother Doug, who is in effect acting as the rabbit. In second place, from the New Balance Track Club, Bruce Bickford, a native of the state of Maine. And he has run 8:28 earlier this year. This is an outstanding field. They are setting a very fast early pace, Tom.
This is the cream of American steeplechases, Larry. We got Henry Marsh in this race, who has been injured most of the year and is making his first outdoor effort at the 3,000-meter steeplechase. You have Graham Fell, who's run under 8:20. Doug Brown, a 3-time Olympian. It's just loaded.
To give our viewers an idea of how good 8 minutes and 20 seconds is, let me say one point here. This distance in time, because of the barriers, equals a full 2-mile run. So take that time of 8:20 that we just mentioned for Graham Fell and divide it by 2. This is the effect, really the effect of athletes taking an event like the 2-mile, dividing it in 2, and you've got yourself a 4:10 mile. Then these guys are running another 4:10 mile. These are great athletes. The distance people aren't really familiar with.
Look out, Mark.
But this is great performance that we're getting today. 63 seconds for the first lap. Very fast time considering the fact they have to go over the barriers. Doug Heikkinen taking everybody through.
It may be a little too fast, Larry. It's a case of where if he goes out and he doesn't keep contact with the rest of the field, he's not really performing his function. And to go out at 63 seconds, he may, in effect, just be...
The win when you're an Indian file, which is on that back stretch, I think will be minimized the way they are running right now.
Now, if you're looking for Henry Marsh, the American record holder, he'll be found in his usual place at the back of the pack. Later on in the race, he'll move up, if he is in shape, and put on a blistering kick.
That water jump they cleared is 12 feet from the top of the jump itself to the end of the water, and it gradually gets less deep the further out you get. I've actually seen some of the Africans in the Olympics try and totally clear that water and be successful at it. I think it's a great waste of energy, but they did it.
Heikkinen seems to be setting a fairly even pace now after that initial fast first lap. Following him, Bickford looks pretty good, Fell, and behind them is Kelly Jensen, who has the second fastest time in the world this year and is at 28 years old really coming into his own.
This event has 28 hurdles, 8/100ths of a second. There's an outside chance that could be in peril today. Only one other American, other than Marsh, has ever dipped under 8 minutes and 20 seconds. He is in the race today in the middle of the pack, and that's 3-time U.S. Olympian Doug Brown. That's Bickford, all alone forging the pace. A very disciplined runner, a 4:02 miler in his indoor track days.
Strength event. You really have to be able to go over those barriers when you're tired, when you're really wanting to quit.
Along those lines, I remember the fatigue setting in on the last lap of one race. I had a big lead. I fell in the water jump. I was so tired. I hit that barrier and stumbled at the finish, and it was a rather inglorious finish to the event. Einsbar still in the lead.
And look who's moved into second place.
Mr. Henry Marsh, who lives in that great town of Bountiful, Utah.
Which is currently sliding away, unfortunately.
Graham fell in second place. Listen to the crowd pick up. It's Einsbar, Henry Marsh, Graham Fell. Bruce Bickford is in fourth place.
Less than a lap to go now, and Henry's starting to make his move.
He's known for his great kick. He's in position. He was injured. He hurt his calf in a competition in steeplechasing about 5 weeks ago. Here goes Henry. And it's really do or die time now. He's passed up 3 events in a row on successive weekends. Here comes the potential speed of Graham Fell that I mentioned.
And look at Henry do a little wedge action between them. Making his move. Henry Marsh used to live in Eugene, a big favorite here.
200 meters to go in the backstretch. 4 runners still in contention.
And Ken Martin moving up into second. Henry Marsh looking back. Graham Fell.
It's only 2 weeks, Tom, till the Nationals time, and qualifying for the World Championship. Marsh had to come here to see if he was recovered from his injury.
I think we have our answer.
We do. Look at that time in the upper right-hand corner. Outstanding time as Marsh files to the finish line. Look at that.
8:21.9. Very close to the world leading. There are, in the United States, there really aren't any women that can challenge her at this point. But worldwide, there are many.
She is used to going out as she takes the lead right now and running virtually time trials in race after race. Some runners can't do it. Many of you out there listening and watching may remember Ron Delaney. He didn't care what he ran as long as he won. He couldn't run against the clock. Mary Decker-Tab Ken, listen to the rhythmic applause that you'll hear from the audio in the background as this crowd gets behind and these fans begin to interact in that spiritual and physical communion that is a major track meet here in Eugene, Oregon. In this case, the Prefontaine Classic. Look at the margin she has opened up in less than 1 lap on her peers.
The thing about Mary that she has to contend with now is she has to force a hard pace to get a good effort because she knows that when she gets to Europe, she's going to have to contend with the Soviets, the Eastern Europeans.
Little flash of the events going on that's similar to what you have to do at an indoor track meet. You have to do it here at Oregon at the Prefontaine Classic, namely take in many different little venues of the sport at the same time. Look at the distance. She has about a 55-yard lead after just the first lap. She is also going to have to contend with a fairly strong wind for about 140 yards of each lap on that back stretch. The wind at the moment is at her back. It will kind of gently boost her along down this home stretch. Beautiful movement, rhythmic runner. Look at the form. Graceful. She reminds me of a female Jim Ryan. He was noted for his grace and beauty. She is too. Look at the high heel kick, reminiscent of really the great 800-meter runners of the day. And this woman had a start in track and field at the shorter distances such as 800 meters. She ran 1:58. She ducked under 2 minutes last year, was America's best 800-meter runner. We're back now live. The key to her success is her speed and the fact that in almost no case does she ever train daily and does she run slower than 6 minutes per mile even in her 10-mile runs. She has amazing ability. She is our hope in Los Angeles. Not to put weight on her shoulders, but that, folks, is the truth. Look at the rest of the pack as they struggle on their own way and their own personal efforts to establish PRs. Her time for the first lap, 65 seconds, a 4-minute, 20-second mile. That is too fast. She can't maintain that pace.
She can't, but it's Mary's way. She goes out fast. She doesn't want to hang back, and she wants to go out and really go for it right from the start.
She has to average to face, and I would say have a chance for a medal in Los Angeles, about a 4-minute, 28-second mile pace for almost 2 full miles. I mean, we hear about women being the weaker sex. Imagine running.
Francie LaRue Smith, who is in this field, former American record holder at 3,000 meters, was talking a couple of days ago about how she isn't afraid of Mary, but it's frustrating to run against Mary because from the gun, there's no way to keep with her at this point in Francie's training. And I think it's something that most of the competitors in the women's field feel.
Tom, we talked about how she goes out and has to force herself and push in order to prepare for the upcoming European season and her head-to-head confrontation she'll have against the Russians in the World Championships in Helsinki, Finland, the second week in August. Here's the split she has run so far: 65 seconds for the first lap, then 68, then 70 and 72. The stress shows the pace that she set is going to be difficult. With the Gatorade on his back and a good advertisement, former Australian, two-time Olympian, and now a resident of the United States, Peter Farmer. Last year in Europe for a while to improve his technique. We're back here with just a few laps to go in the 3,000-meter run. Look at Decker sneak a peek over to see how big her lead is.
She's got a lap and a straightaway to go.
Lynn Williams, running a very intelligent, evenly paced race, has actually closed the gap a little bit on Mary. She probably is 7 seconds astern right now.
Mary coming up on the bell lap. Williams is running a very intelligent race.
Cindy Bremser running in third place. Maggie Kai's in fourth. Mary Decker all alone as she is here in our country. It's amazing to have the margin that she does so consistently, but she has been a superior, world-class runner since she was 14 years of age. Really an amazing performance for one so young. She has carried this ability and can continue to train here in the area of greatest emotional and physical support for the athlete, Eugene, Oregon. It's Decker, Lynn Williams from Canada, and Cindy Bremser running for Wisconsin United, a nurse who's getting her master's degree up in Wisconsin in third place. Maggie Kai is a graduate of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, is in fourth.
Mary having a hard row to hoe with that wind in her face, coming into the final home stretch.
She's just passed her American record time now, still has a straightaway to go. That wind in the early pace, I think, took its toll, Tom. It's going to be Mary Decker, the 25-year-old to be beauty. 5 feet 6, 112 pounds, 8 minutes and 42 seconds, right on her best time for this distance this year. She ran that 100 meters as 50 seconds. Johnny Gray, who's starting from lane 5, has had a very good early season as well. And last week won the Jenner Classic by pulling away at the finish. There goes Sam Kosgei. I mean, folks, look at that man move on the back stretch.
Yes, and Steve could get caught in traffic back there. In fact, he is. Kosgei is getting out. That's Joel and Medich right in second place, a countryman of Sammy's. And third, Randy Wilson of Athletics West. But this is Sammy Kosgei taking the lead.
Only one more time will they have to fight the wind, and you're so fresh in an 800 meters you don't notice it the first time. We're going to have a fast race here, folks.
Kosgei, Medich. Moving up is Johnny Gray on the outside in the orange shorts. Steve Scott right behind him. He did get out of trouble, Larry.
23-year-old John Gray has, in effect, Steve Scott boxed as we have one lap to go. We have an unofficial split through the first 400 meters of 52 seconds. Outstanding time. Somebody's down.
Down at the back of the pack. All of the favorites managed to avoid trouble, though. It's still Sammy Kosgei. Johnny Gray on his shoulder. Medich losing contact a little bit. But moving up into fourth place, Steve Scott.
The power will show, and Scott must make his move starting just about now. Let's watch him. He's on the outside in fourth place, on the shoulder of Randy Wilson. Let's see what he's got left. It's going to be difficult to catch Sammy Kosgei right now. His kick has been improving. He's been running more consistently. Let's watch this home stretch. This is Olympic caliber type running that you're seeing right now. Johnny Gray on the outside in the orange shorts.
And Steve's tying up, Larry. He's out of it. Now it's Sammy Kosgei. Johnny Gray coming on. Johnny Gray taking the lead.
Look at Gray. A very fine success story is Johnny Gray. As an 18-year-old and 1978... Despite the fact he's not a 21-year-old anymore, Eamon Coughlin has a new attitude. There's 21 competitors, no less. Talk about a European start. We have it here at Eugene. And this is a very, very deep, talented field. You're going to see an excellent race.